Ew.
What's going on, Whisper Nation? Thank you for joining us on another Mock Draft Monday. We are here live with you on the YouTube channel. Make sure you have liked and subscribed if you haven't done so already. But I got to give a big hello to my fellow panelists here. We got Big Travie and Johnny Game Time Hicks in the house. Boys, it is Super Bowl time now. How are you doing? How you feeling? We're mock drafting. We love it. How's your week started right now? Post AFC NFC championships going on. Travie, how you doing, man?
I wish I was a lot better. I tell you that much. Packers gutted me yesterday, and most other Packer fans. Austin, I know you're feeling that pain too. I see you're a better man than me, repping them hard today. But yeah, I'm not feeling too great. But I'm excited to be mocking here, get my mind off of that real football and into some fake fantasy football, and even the fakest of fantasy football, some mock drafting. With Whisper Nation, who is showing up today. We've almost got a full draft in January. That's amazing. We love our crew.
We'd love to see that, man. And if you haven't actually joined and you want to jump in the room with us, we got a couple of spots left. So hop on the Twitter account at TF Whispers to grab one of the last 3 spots we have in our 12-team live mock draft coming. Yeah, Travie, man, this is mainly more from stubbornness. This is not a better man trying to position this as just whatever. The Packers are the greatest team that ever was, ever will be. That doesn't change from one loss. I don't care how many times Brady does whatever.
Walker Bass.
Yeah.
Walker Bass. He's in here asking if that's Aaron Rodgers himself.
Well, he's got time now, and he's considering a lot. So he's thinking about joining TFW. We haven't really gotten word back. He hasn't said no. He hasn't said yes. So we're waiting to see.
He gave
so
he said his future was uncertain. That's not because he might leave the Packers for another team. He might leave the Packers for this team.
He's got great opportunities ahead. We know he'll make a smart choice matter. But Johnny, speaking of smart choices, man, how you doing today? How are you doing after the week? It's good to be with you, brother.
It's good to be with you guys too. Happy Monday. Really excited for this mock draft Monday. And listen, I was telling Travis beforehand, before we went live, ever since we did a trip out to Lambeau a few years ago, we went through all the history of Lambeau and the Green Bay Packers. And man, I will always have a place in my heart for the Green Bay Packers as a team. I'll always root for them. I mean, unless they're against my Packers or my Cardinals. But yeah, man, it was sad seeing them miss out. I really wanted them to go to the Super Bowl. I thought that would have been really, really fun Super Bowl with Kansas City, but it is what it is. Now I'm just hoping. Go ahead.
And I got to say, man, if I'm honest, this is the best historic matchup I've probably ever seen on paper. Patrick Mahomes, reigning Super Bowl MVP, going up against Tom Brady, 6-time champ. It's unlike really anything we've seen. It is like LeBron James going against Michael Jordan in the finals. It's pretty wild right now, and I feel blessed that we have an opportunity to witness this. I also feel blessed having Whisper Nation filling out in our sleeper room as well as on the YouTube channel. I got a quick plug the rest of our content that you can expect to come your way this week, next week, and week in, week out. So make sure you have liked and subscribed to the Fantasy Whispers on YouTube. Hit that thumbs up, get the notifications as they come in, because every Monday we're doing our live draft just after 12 o'clock Pacific, 3 o'clock Eastern time. On Thursdays, the full podcast is released. And then on Saturday, we've got clips coming your way as well. We've also got some new content ideas that we're playing around with. So just make sure that you've liked and subscribed. Yes, on YouTube, also on Twitter and Instagram to catch our new content that's going to be coming out as we get our schedule in place and the offseason continues to develop. We're going to be with you every step of the way. Also want to let you know for this mock draft that we're about to get started, and we do have no kickers, no defenses in this mock draft. We don't have the rookies yet. They haven't been drafted, so it's going to be a little bit of a different mock draft. Kind of even that out. We took out the kickers. We took out the defenses. There's just 13 rounds. It's a 12-team full-point PPR. We've got 1 extra wide receiver, so 3 wide receivers. Otherwise, 2 running backs, quarterback, tight end, kicker, no defense, and 13 total spots. We're going to go ahead and get this one started in here in just a second. 3 more spots still available, so jump in. Johnny, Travis, is there anything you'd like to let the people know before we go ahead and get this mock draft started here?
I just want to let the people know I love them. I love them. Love them so much.
Love
That's
this
about it.
community, man. Love this community.
Yes, we do. All right, boys. Well,
all right, you ready?
It's Monday. Let's do it.
That's Monday. Let's go. All right, starting draft.
Big Travy's going to be at the 1 spot. Game time's at the 3. I'm sitting there in the middle at 7 in a full point PPR. I love this, man. This is such a fun time of the year. Who is at the top of your list, Big Travy?
I'm going to go with Alvin Kamara, man. I just think the high efficiency, the offense. We see if Drew Brees out of the lineup. Hopefully it's not Taysom Hill. That's what I'm hoping for the Saints for Alvin Kamara. If it were to be Taysom Hill and that was announced, then this might sway my pick to maybe a Dalvin Cook, even a CMC here.
I think that there's, in my mind, I'm kind of seeing Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry. Are those kind of the big three, or is CMC still in there? Are we putting him up in the top? Is Ezekiel Elliott still hanging on there?
In there just because when he plays, we know that he's guaranteed for great numbers no matter what. But yeah, I would throw Derrick Henry in here. The only concern is the PPR, but it just doesn't seem to matter. Arthur Smith also leaving. I'm not sure how the offensive coordinator change is going to affect them. But yeah, Henry belongs within that top realm for sure.
I want to give a shout out to the Whisper Nation team we've got here in our live draft. Easy Daddy, what's going on, man? We got Jay Blizzy, our Whisper Nation champion.
Yeah,
Josh, good to see you. Jacob Bley, #1 fan. Always love to have you in the house. Fantasy Boss 155, what's up, man? W Bass and Reed Tyler there at the 12 spot. It is awesome to have y'all with us, and everybody here in the live chat on our YouTube channel as well. It's great to have you here with us, Whisper Nation, on this Monday. I think I might go with Devontae Adams.
We had a huge curveball. Elephant in the first round, which we knew that Travis Kelsey was going to go in the first round, but #2 overall.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Easy Daddy coming in hot. He did say he was at work, so maybe he fat fingered it.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton.
I mean, looking back last year, Travis Kelsey, a first-round pick, was not out of the question, right? For a lot of those, what was he, the wide receiver 4 or something like that? He was like the quarterback 9.
Well, in Johnny and I's production meeting this morning too, we were talking a little bit about Kelsey. Straight from Reddit, there's this post about the last 10 games for Kelsey. Put him on pace. Like if you extrapolated his 10 games over 16 games, 138 receptions, 1,800 yards, and 14 to 15 touchdowns. This guy is on a tear right now and just dominating, and it's really like a transcendent year for Travis Kelsey that's kind of gone a little under the radar.
It really has, hasn't it? Why do you think that is? Is it because it's just like so much he's done it before and Tyreek Hill's still over there and it's the Chiefs?
I think it's the Chiefs, you know. I think when it shines all over, it's hard for one guy to shine out. I mean, you looked at even the yardage for Mahomes was kind of quiet this year, even though it was almost record-breaking yardage in the games that he at least starting the year off as. So I think there's a lot of, there's a lot of team first mentality there, but these guys are still shining through that.
So we've got the first round here. Go ahead, Johnny.
Eric's in the chat defending his pick, saying that Travis Kelsey is a PPR monster, which we don't disagree with. But boys, this all boils down to one thing here. Reach for your guy. That's what you got to do. Travis Kelsey was not going to make it to him in the second round. Listen, I mean, you try to probably trade down a little bit from the 102 if you really want Travis Kelsey. I don't disagree. He's not going to be a first rounder this year. But at #2, that's a little wild.
So through the regular season, guys, Travis Kelsey 1 through 16, weeks 1 through 16, regular fantasy football season. Travis Kelsey dipped below 17 PPR fantasy points only once, and he finished with 16 in that game. So the guy is a walking 15-point to 20-point magnet in PPR. I can understand why you want that consistency and positional advantage.
I'm not going to knock anyone on that, just like I wouldn't knock anybody for taking Patrick Mahomes in the first round either. It's like this is Travis Kelsey. I think George Kittle. Last year I took George Kittle over Travis Kelsey. I think that George Kittle is probably still there, but right now, given the injury, what went on last year, and the record-setting pace Travis Kelsey is still going on right now, Travis Kelsey stands alone. It's Travis Kelsey and then the rest of the tight end field. If you get him, you have such a true advantage. You can still get a good receiver. You can still get a good running back. You can still get a sneaky guy who's going to pop up. You're not going to get Travis Kelsey again, though. right? I mean, maybe you will, actually. It's like Darren Waller. Are we shocked if Darren Waller doesn't get 1,400 yards next year?
What about George Kittle? What if George
I
Kittle
mean,
gets
George
Matthew
Kittle, yeah.
Stafford? If George Kittle gets Matthew Stafford, oh goodness gracious, and he stays healthy,
that's a great point.
Yeah,
that is a great point. So, but Travis Kelsey's it's a done deal. But I guess you added some other. You can still take Derrick Henry. It's a pretty done deal right there too, or Dalvin Cook. So
yeah, it'll be the positional scarcity. We'll see. But he said he wanted to try this out. I mean, he says it right here. No mistake. I'm trying something out. I want to see how the mock plays out. And he's not busy at work. He wanted us to know.
Hey, I love it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Set the tone. This is really what it's here for, Whisper Nation, right? Like, we are mocking. We're trying things on. We encourage this all the time. Try something you would never do. You know, if you go running back heavy, try an upside down draft. Don't take a running back till the 5th round just to see what happens. What happens when you swing for those dice roll running backs, those unproven guys? What does your roster end up looking like? Sometimes it creates opportunities you never really considered, and that's why we mock draft right here.
We do say that with a little bit of with respect to other players as well. I would say, like, as far as like, I wouldn't be like trying to take maybe a guy you wouldn't take in the first to mess up everyone else. But in this case, it makes sense.
And you're the one person of all of us when we do these mocks, when you end up going in this really like contorted way, you're like, you know what? That was great. You always preach this caution. You're like, don't disrespect the mock, be it real. And then you go and do something a little different. You're like, you know what? I got to tell you something now.
I'm just saying, like,
so Nick has a great question here, not to cut you off, Johnny. He says, out of the first 12, who is going to be a bust? Need to know.
Ooh, great question.
And I like even Eric's response here. Michael Thomas, potentially. I could see a Josh Jacobs falling off. But Austin, I want to kick it to you on Saquon Barkley. This is a guy that you've liked a lot over the last couple of years, but kind of has burned you. Would you consider Saquon Barkley maybe to be a bust next year?
No, I wouldn't consider Saquon Barkley to be a bust next year. He could be disappointing for you, but there's just no way if a healthy Saquon Barkley completes the season that he's a full bust. Just in the way that like Wayne Gallman still producing numbers for the New York Football Giants and anyone who had rostered him, Saquon Barkley would do as good, if not extremely better than Wayne Gallman did. It's an ACL. People come back from ACLs these days. He's going to come back probably just as strong as he was. I'm more concerned about the lack of development he picked up in this year than I am about the ACL recovery. The year before that, it was a high ankle sprain. You fully recover from high ankle sprains. He's so far and above the rest of the field. Even when we get people catching up now, like Dalvin Cook has really jumped up. Nick Chubb has jumped up. Kamara has reaffirmed himself. Saquon is still one of the best running backs in the world. So no, I'm not looking at him as a bust status, but I'm not looking at him as a top 3 pick as I am. There's just 2 other running backs that have gotten me excited. For me, the biggest bust in this first 12, Travis, when I'm looking at everybody, would be Ezekiel Elliott. That's who's jumping out to me.
I was just looking at Zeke as maybe a potential guy you could pick here to be the bust.
They got Tony Pollard.
I do think Zeke will be a bust next year.
We saw it. Look what happened with Todd Gurley. Look at what happened with David Johnson. These were guys who were the #1 running backs in the world, and started slipping a little bit. Started to have a little bit of a health issue. Started to have a little bit of dissonance developing with the coach. Same thing with Le'Veon Bell. These guys never got better. Like, Ezekiel Elliott is not going to get better. Sorry, dynasty owners. He's just not. Like, maybe you can get a couple more good years the way Todd Gurley still had one good year there over in LA, and then he had an okay start to the year in Atlanta. Like, I don't know why Ezekiel Elliott doesn't go down a similar trajectory. He's had a good run.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
Ah, man, I was trying to decide. I thought DK might slip to me in the 3rd.
Ooh, I like easy dad now. Travis Kelsey, DK Metcalf stack. That's fun.
Yeah.
I
thought about DK there, but I thought maybe he might fall to me in the 3rd. But that was good. This is
so while Travis.
This is
they're looking at their picks and get these. Go ahead. We're dancing with each other here. I'm going to run this second round out while Travis making his consideration and Johnny's getting ready for his 3rd round pick. Patrick Mahomes started the 2nd round off. Reed Tyler tagged him along with Nick Chubb. CEH after Patrick Mahomes, followed by Miles Sanders, Aaron Jones, Austin Eckler. I picked up DeAndre Hopkins. Jonathan Taylor went right afterwards, followed by Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs, George Kittle, DK Metcalf, and Big Travis making his selection here to round out the second. Want to give a shout out here to everybody in Whisper Nation. Thanks for joining us here in the live chat. If you haven't hit that thumbs up button, do us a favor. Please hit that thumbs up button. It allows us to continue doing what we love to do most. Want to run through some of these questions here. We've got Eric Zubert. So yeah, can't guard Mike. Won't pick Mike in the first round. Might be. Walker Bass says could have had number one receiving yards, even counting wide receivers, if he played the last game. He's talking about Travis Kelsey. Yeah, man, that guy's out of this world. Nick asks, out of those 12, who's going to be a bust? Ezekiel Elliott, most likely. Yeah, average over 22 points before Dak was hurt. I think Walker Bass is talking about Ezekiel Elliott. That's true, but then he played the rest of the season and didn't look super hot moving forward. And Tony Pollard didn't look bad either. I just don't think there's a lot of reasons to think that Ezekiel Elliott's going to get better. Tony Pollard is going to get better.
Yeah, and I just think we've seen a track record from Mike McCarthy kind of forgetting his running backs and not really leaning into that running back. So plus Kellen Moore is, I guess Kellen Moore's going to stay. But Kellen Moore was being interviewed. Maybe he gets pulled away from Dallas. So there's some things to shake out still there. Offensive line was not as strong as it has been last year. So that's another tick on the armor, or chink in the armor, if you will.
Travi, I wanted to ask you, of the second-year running backs coming in, which ones are you most excited? We just saw J.K. Dobbins come off the board. Easy Daddy took him in the third round. We saw Jonathan Taylor gone in the middle of the second by Jacob Bley. That second year, if you're a running back who was not taken in the top 10 picks, you're not one of these like crazy college talents coming out like Ezekiel Elliott or Saquon Barkley was, we see a year needing to develop. And that second year, a lot of the times these dudes that Henderson did this year after an arguably disappointing rookie season. Which running backs are you most looking forward to this year, Travis? And I want to hear then from Johnny after he's done making his third round selection.
Yeah, there's a few. Johnny just selected one that I think is probably one of the most exciting players in Antonio Gibson. I think Jonathan Taylor is an extremely exciting prospect. The only concern I have with Jonathan Taylor is what the Colts do at the quarterback position. We've seen this offense under Jacoby Brissett not be one you really wanted in fantasy, although Marlon Mack did have some good games under Jacoby Brissett. But Jonathan Taylor is a stud, and we saw him kind of shake off the cobwebs at the end of the year. So I love where Jonathan Taylor is going kind of in this mock here. He'll probably end up at the end of the first, though. CEH is one that not a lot of people are talking about as a second-year guy, but still part of that great offense, still a guy that could have been just working through his rookie bumps and bruises, and somebody that's really excited. And then, of course, J.K. Dobbins, DeAndre Swift, all very exciting rookies that are this past year. Really excited to see what they can do with an extended role.
What about you, Johnny? You just took Antonio Gibson there in the third round. I like that pickup. I like him going along with the rest of the work that you're doing there with George Kittle and with Christian McCaffrey. But who are you feeling second-year running backs you got your eye on the most this year?
Yeah, I'm really intrigued by Antonio Gibson. Obviously we have to figure out the quarterback situation, but J.D. McKissick, I think that you kind of saw him, he shouldered a lot of workload, but you really saw the true potential of Antonio Gibson. You saw the upside, and they've already said it, before. And once again, we kind of laughed at Ron Rivera when he said, oh, this guy is like a CMC. And we kind of laughed at it, but seeing what he can do, he has that potential. We've seen that outcome a couple of weeks before he got injured. So I'm really excited for that, and excited to see what the Washington football team does at the quarterback position. Hopefully, it'll benefit him. But again, I think that this is where you'll end up, you're going to start seeing a lot of these rookies go off, right? Because you kind of see where it's at right now. Of course, the rankings aren't really updated or anything like that, but you've got right now they have projected like Chris Carson, Todd Gurley, Le'Veon Bell, James Conner, David Johnson, Leonard Fournette, Melvin Gordon, Kareem Hunt, guys like that. I think they'll push down a little bit further, and we'll actually see them be replaced with all these rookies. I think that they'll all probably go in a row. It'll be kind of pick your favorite one, your favorite offense, or what you think has the best potential outcome. But I actually like all of these guys, second year rookies. I think they all have really good outcomes if they can put it together and stay healthy.
Yeah, just to add to that point, like Austin, it'll be fun to watch this shake out, to see how the coaching staffs get married to the players, and how which of these players kind of asserts themselves through some training camp hype and all of that noise here. It's going to be exciting how we end up ranking those second year guys, because it's an exciting class too.
No, it really is. What about the wide receivers? What about some of those wide receivers that were so good at their rookie years? Usually you look for more development from the wide receiver position, but they were so good this rookie year. We kind of like Justin Jefferson's awesome, right? Like T. Higgins was looking really good. What wide receivers, though, are you most looking forward to popping off, rookies last year or sophomores this year?
I think the one I'm most excited about, bottom line, is CeeDee Lamb. I'm really excited to see CeeDee Lamb's second step in that offense with Dak Prescott back. There's going to be some things there that really excite me about CeeDee Lamb, but Justin Jefferson, man, really just exploded off the page at you. One of the highest graded rookie wide receivers ever from PFF. Just really, really talented. And then T. Higgins was great too. I think you mentioned like the top three guys for me, and that's because T. Higgins with Joe Burrow, I mean, they were using him as the red zone machine. He was a touchdown monster there for a little bit for them. So really like T. Higgins. Think there's a lot to be happy about going forward.
What about you, Johnny?
Especially if AJ Green ends up, leaving like we all think he will, or he should and will. That should open up a lot more opportunity for him. And so he was having to split targets and stuff with AJ Green. Imagine a full, season without AJ Green, him stepping up as that wide receiver one. And sure, some people might say, well, if AJ Green isn't there, maybe he'll get doubled or he'll be. And my answer to that would be he can handle it. He is the type of wide receiver that has that alpha dog wide receiver that you can definitely see have, like you saw the connection as well with him and Joe Burrow. So really excited for that. And you've got a lot of exciting pieces depending on, some guys that we didn't really see the potential upside yet. But I think like guys like Laviska Shenault, I think if he can get, if he gets Trevor Lawrence in there, that could be a nice pickup, of one of these guys you didn't necessarily see or hear about in the first year, but in the second year he kind of comes along and it's like, oh, kind of like DJ Chark did. And then, so I'm those guys.
No, I think it's good. Making my pick here on this one. There's some nice, juicy wide receivers still available, even in these PPR formats here in the fourth round, which is a good thing to note. It's a good thing to note. And kind of figuring out where you think you want to make different positional moves. I'm looking at right now, I've got 3 wide receivers, but I'm liking DJ more than I'm liking a Melvin Gordon, I think. But I'm going to go ahead and get that one up. I'm mocking in January. If they drafted a running back, I'd go ahead and switch this up. But with the information we have available, I like that pickup right there. But
I do.
This is one of the curious things I'm thinking about, and I want to know what Whisper Nation thinks. Oh, first off, Nick wants to know, do you expect a running back like Mark Ingram to join a team and make a difference in fantasy? Johnny, do you expect Mark Ingram to make a difference?
I think he'll make a difference in making you frustrated if you have him on your team, because you could definitely see him getting some goal line carries or something like that, and just frustrating fantasy owners. But as of I don't see it because of his age and I mean, of all offenses that you could be successful in, you would think Baltimore you would be successful in. So I just think that there was something there. And dang it, AJ Brown came off. I really wanted AJ Brown here, but that's what I would say about that.
Mark Ingram is going to go to Johnny's chagrin. Mark Ingram's going to go to Detroit and just screw up his DeAndre Swift love this year. And AP. Yeah. They're probably going to keep AP and Mark Ingram.
No, they're not going
And
to
just real.
That's probably going to happen. It's probably going to happen where Mark Ingram does go.
They're going to let Matt Stafford go, and Josh McCown's going to become that starting QB for him. I know he's talking coaching, but we know he can lace him up still. So watch, he's going to come in quarterback over there. Really do wonder DeAndre Swift's outlook. I'm curious. I want to talk to you guys about this, like, on a strategy point. This is January, right? And there's things to consider right now. Like, I'm looking at, when I was making my decision there in the 4th round, Johnny, I'm looking at Melvin Gordon. I'm looking at James Conner. I'm looking at guys that if there's nobody behind them, they're still in really good situations. Like Melvin Gordon really popped near, especially at the end. James Conner might come back. We don't know if he's going to be the starting running back, though. How are you kind of looking at these situations that are not so clear cut, like a Melvin Gordon in Denver, a James Conner in Pittsburgh? How should we be thinking about these right now? Or is it just kind of a wait and see what they do in the draft, see what they do in free agency, see how the beat reporters come out looking?
Yeah, I think a little bit of both. Like Melvin Gordon, of course, is an interesting case because what do they do with Philip Lindsay? Now, if Melvin Gordon is by himself there, and yeah, they could potentially sign Royce Freeman to a cheaper contract, still use them both. Right. But for me, I want to see what some of these guys do before I say my confidence level. But what we kind of saw last year is that these guys, you can kind of pass on them, right? It's better to get these solid wide receivers that have the higher upside, especially in like a PPR league. And so for me, I think this is where I'm looking at these wide receivers that have these higher upside plays.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big ones that I saw this year, especially is the wide receiver role has become more of a staple in the NFL as the bell cow running back has taken a step back to that alpha wide receiver role. I feel pretty comfortable saying that. I don't think there's a team right now in the NFL that would take a top running back over a top wide receiver at this point. Kind of just trying to figure out how that shakes in standard formats and PPR formats. Getting a grip on it right now. There's going to be so much movement, Travis. Like you talked about Jonathan Taylor. I'm looking at him right now again, and I like my Devontae Adams pick in the 1st, but if I was committed to a running back, I would take Nick Chubb before I took Jonathan Taylor, but I might take Jonathan Taylor just on the upside over everybody else.
Yeah, and then if you add in something like if they could upgrade the QB position, say they get a deal done for Matt Stafford, I think that is a nasty marriage that could work out really well for not only the Colts, but specifically for a guy like Jonathan Taylor. Because what you want out of Taylor, because he's not a true bell cow given the way they want to use Nyheim Hines, but if they can get more opportunities because the offense is good like it was last year.
Or first downs.
Yeah, then you're good to go. And I think that's an interesting take to, and then we're talking about the Ezekiel Elliott there. So then are you talking about Jonathan Taylor over Ezekiel Elliott? And I think I think you have to make that call. And that's the world we're living in. And that's what happens, man. You have the changing of a guard. And so what we'll watch is that ADP change over time as our minds in the industry start to change and gather the new information and chew on it and sit with it. So yeah, it's an exciting time. And this is why we do this, Whisper Nation. We want to get on here with you, work through that process out loud, so to speak, and then kind of arrive where we need to arrive by the time those drafts come around.
And that's a big one. And so also, so you don't get surprised when it happens. One of the sayings Chelsea and I love to say is kill your darlings. And it's a little aggressive, but it's like, think of the thing you love and kill it and go through that emotional journey.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, I know. It's we play this. It's the art of war, baby. Like
all of a sudden, this kind of came not suitable for work.
That's fantasy football is not suitable for work. Are you kidding me? The mindset you have to take into this, it's not suitable for life, baby. This is it's not that, like we had talked about, we're sitting here mock drafted, right? Yeah, guys. And we had talked before some of that your league of record draft going on. What do you do psychologically when you get sniped? Like when you've got a guy, your favorite dude, you're going to get him. And the mofo right before you picks him up. No, that's not your guy. That's my guy.
You shout out a giant scream.
You do. But then what do you do after that? Right? And so many times you get disgruntled and you like freak out and you take the next guy available, or you do something kind of silly. And I thought I researched this a little bit, and I forget the woman the author. She was great for Yahoo, and she had said though that what she does is she just always imagines her guy getting sniped anyways. Imagine the guy you want getting taken right before. What are you doing otherwise? Who are you game planning for then outside of that? And I think that's really just what we got to start thinking here. And it's important. You're going to get some sneakers down in the 4th and 5th rounds that, as we progress, are going in the 2nd round, and it's going to freak you out a little bit. But it shouldn't. Just get used to it now, right? Like, this is all about Jonathan Taylor.
We all like to say, kind of like the great Bruce Lee said, "Be like water." Water can fill the space it's in. It can also crash and create, landscape and deteriorate other things. So you want to be able to be, pliable, move around as you need to,
but then still be able to commit when you need to.
Yep.
Yeah. We saw in the 4th round, James Robinson. Man, I got to pay attention to these guys that are way down on the ADP. James Robinson, Chris Godwin, Adam Thielen, Kenny Golladay, Melvin Gordon, Justin Jefferson, Juju Smith-Schuster, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, Terry McLaurin, and Tyler Lockett closed our 4th round. Big Travi started the 5th with Kareem Hunt. Darren Waller was snagged next. Ronald Jones taken by Johnny T. Higgins, Mark Andrews, the aforementioned CeeDee Lamb, James Conner, Le'Veon Bell, Odell Beckham Jr., Russell Wilson, David Johnson, and Will Fuller there to close out the 5th round. These are looking pretty good. Reed Tyler now making his first selection in the 6th round. Big shout out also in the Whisper Nation live chat on the YouTube channel, plugged in with Jay / the Fantasy Football Plug. Man, great to have you with us.
What up, Jay?
It's great to have you in the mock draft marathon, which it's never too early to start talking about the mock draft marathon, isn't it? Every
Never.
August? No, I've talked enough. Travis, what's going on with the mock draft marathon this
year?
Yeah,
it'll most likely be early August. That's when we usually like to do it there. We might play with that date, but we'll let you know. Something cool we're trying to get going here is the Friday show with the 3 of us looking back at some of those mocks and kind of talking about what we did in those and just shooting the SHIT together. And but yeah, the mock draft marathon's great. We get everybody within the community. I know that's the joke. We get everybody in the community kind of rocking and rolling on that. We had Liz Loza, we had Sigmund Bloom, we had Evan Silva, Adam Rank, Stepmom Lauren, not to name drop, we had Jay, the Fantasy Football Plug. But it was just awesome to get the community together. Had our friends over from Snap Fantasy Football Podcast on here, all of our buddies from Club Fantasy FFL. It was just such a great time. And of course, the wonderful, the one and only Stepmom Lauren. It was just great to get everybody on there and just mock with Whisper Nation. And we know Whisper Nation loved it. They would check in when they started. They were checking in the midnight hours, and they were checking in the morning. They said, "Hey, we got some sleep. We know you guys didn't. What's going on? How's it going?" And yeah, it was a blast, and it'll be a blast again. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's soon enough. Big live in person, blown out. We're getting ready to do that. I mean, Adam Rank had said, "Sorry guys, we're stealing this idea for the NFL Network. We'll see you in Vegas on TV." So we'll just have to beat him to it.
Yep.
That's all I took from that. It's just a challenge. We just got to get ahead of the NFL Network before they can farm all of our great ideas. But they are great ideas.
System.
I was.
Yeah, that's what happens, right? Independent content creation community.
So it was interesting. I was going to mention this that quite different from last week's mock draft where a bunch of quarterbacks went in the first 6th round. Very few had come through the first 5 rounds. We only had 3 quarterbacks, but now on a quarterback run. I was planning on taking a quarterback here, but I never want to be kind of that tail end of a run here. I will just pass on it.
But this is a kind of good really? But you had Dak Prescott and Aaron Rodgers. Are those guys not in that same category as the other quarterbacks who went this round?
If Dak is healthy, absolutely. If I know Dak is going to be there week 1, I have no problem pulling the trigger on Dak here. I just don't know if his ankle is ready to go as of January. And, we're going to be looking back on these mock drafts and grading. So I don't want to be looking back next January saying, "Hey, Game Time took Dak Prescott in the first or in the sixth round.
John, you just gave me such a wave of PTSD. I feel like my dad right now when he have his nom stints.
Johnny better pay attention to his clock.
No, I know I got 17 seconds. But actually, the guy that I was going to take in the 5th round, I was contemplating, actually fell to the 6th here, surprisingly. So I will take Robert Woods, PPR.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
How did he fall, man? Wow. That's a sneaker. Robert Woods is going to, again, be better next year than – he's still getting better. He's 28 years old. Wide receivers, if you watch when they peak out, like, he's just now coming into his peak. Robert Woods. Like, next year could very well be his best season of all time, and he's had very, very good years going back to Buffalo. He's like the least sexy, most consistent wide receiver I've ever seen.
See, this is the response that I was wanting, a year from now as well, as opposed to the Dak Prescott one. And us saying, wow, he didn't make it back until halfway through. What were you thinking? That's
a good pick.
I'm just messing with you.
I do want to ask you.
Oh, go ahead.
You do about the quarterbacks. This time of the year, it's hard to talk about running backs, right? Because teams are going to draft running backs. So much movement happens really, really quickly in the NFL and for fantasy purposes with your running backs. Mark Ingram, Todd Gurley were fine 3rd-round pickups last year. They are not going in the 3rd round this year. Quarterbacks, on the other hand, are much less volatile positions. You very rarely pick up a rookie quarterback and expect him to legitimately produce. This year with Justin Herbert, was a bit of an exception. We've had guys like RG3 in past years. I mean, Lamar Jackson. Well, not even actually. Never mind. Scratch that. So quarterbacks are a little bit easier to talk about. And I'm looking at the playing field right now, and there's a lot of really exciting quarterbacks right now that are in play. Like, we've got dudes this year who jumped into the mix. Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray are legitimate members of this new tier. And then guys got back in it. Aaron Rodgers was out of it, and now he's back in it. And if he returns, I don't think anybody's suggesting that Aaron Rodgers isn't going to be able to do what he did this year again. So when we look at the quarterback selection, looking this forward, Big Travie, what are you kind of thinking right now? We had talked a lot about how those cannon arm quarterbacks are maybe more of a priority than they'd been in years past. A little bit harder to just roll the dice on someone super late. Right now, it seems like there's a ton of exciting dudes. What's your quarterback outlook in the offseason right now?
Yeah, I think that it's definitely gotten deeper. It's a class that continues to get deeper. I think that there is a fall off a little bit, and that the risk that you take when you take a guy like Aaron Rodgers here, or a Tom Brady, or even the Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert, Matt Stafford, those guys, is that they're still the statue quarterbacks. They're still the guys. Rodgers has mobility in his game, but he's not going to go with his legs, right? So there's a fall off.
Showed up yesterday.
Yeah, definitely should have yesterday. Multiple times. Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, even with the ankle, guys that have the ability to get you week winning games because of their feet. So I think there is a little bit of a break there. And that's the thing with Rodgers. Like, yes, Rodgers did get back into that tier, and he was amazing. He also had an MVP-like season.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't really bank that he'll have another MVP-like season, but you can project that he'll have another good year. And I think this will probably be, he'll come up a couple rounds, I believe. If he ends up coming back he should come back to the Packers. I don't see any reason why not. If he's back with the Packers, they have most of their weapons still there. I think he could easily rise in ADP.
Yeah. I think he was having a hard day yesterday. I just didn't want to talk about it.
Big time. I
don't blame him.
Well, Jacob Bley sniping quarterbacks over. Justin Herbert was the guy that I was really kind of eyeing. I almost took him here instead of Chase Edmonds. But I was like, maybe.
Yeah, why are you saying he sniped you? You flipping had Chase Edmonds 3 picks earlier. You wanted to wait another.
Yeah, I did want to wait, dude, and then he took him. Dude. So therefore, he sniped him from me. Okay.
Ipso facto.
Yeah. So,
maybe if it was the reverse.
It's all right. I got a trick up my sleeve. Okay, I got an idea. All right, I have a backup plan because you know what? We've done a million mocks that by now. So you can take one of my players. I got a next man up here. I got another guy that's a little bit further down the list. I can now wait.
Oh no!
I can now wait, but I got to take him within the next 2 picks because if I don't, then I won't get him on our screen grab, and he won't be an awesome pick for me on Instagram. which if you're watching, we post the results on Instagram. Go vote on those. Nothing really happens with those. Just pride is put on the line.
Oh, I mean,
Someone loses the toenails.
Oh,
all of
gosh,
them,
dude.
We screen grab the first 9 rounds, 9 players for a starting roster, and the Whisper Nation let us know who did the best. Was it me or Travi or Johnny? Let us
tell you
know.
who it was last week. It was me.
It was
Was
Big
it?
Travi last week. He had a good
That's right.
team. I thought we
Whisper
all
Nation
had good
spoke.
teams.
But you put your team in the middle. So maybe they just no one
Alright,
picked you.
I'll
Maybe
put
just-
it on the right this time.
I think in the I
did like that though. How you used the bar.
Just lazy slider.
Hey,
You're just like, I don't.
he had the best team. I'm pretty sure in the comments that's what he wrote. So he had an influence on the people.
That's okay.
Me.
Yeah.
That's how the
Austin
world
went and
works.
commented that he won too. I don't
did.
hear him getting any blast.
Well, I said anybody's mocking in January is winning, but I also won.
Don't be mad at me, Johnny, because the people spoke. All right.
So what you're saying is you
Oh,
both cheated.
7th round. Yeah, you're doing it. We're moving here now through our mock draft. You're still with us here, Whisper Nation. We got 12 of y'all here in the live chat. It is awesome to see you here. If you haven't hit that thumbs up, please do us a favor. Hit that thumbs up button. Allow us to continue growing out our reach. We would love if you could do that. It's what we love to do more than anything else out here. 7th round is done. Zach Moss, Aaron Rodgers, Chase Edmonds, Brandon Ayuk. Man, I love him. T.Y. Hilton, Justin Herbert, Raheem Mostert, Zach Ertz, Hunter Henry, Rob Gronkowski, Mark Ingram, Hayden Hurst to close out that 7th round. Started out the 8th here with James White, Cortland Sutton, Devin Singletary, Ryan Tannehill, Marquise Brown, and Devontae Parker now are gone. Tony Pollard and A.J. Green are as well. And Johnny here's getting ready for his 8th round pick to go after his Chase Edmonds selection.
Seriously?
Right.
Ryan Tannehill went in the 8th? This is unbelievable. This is what I want.
Is that your boy?
Yeah, that was my backup there. I wanted him.
Kill your darlings.
Kill him.
You know what this is?
I just love it.
Great. Past 2 rounds.
Grand.
Grand.
You getting
Terrific.
swooped. No, it's a real point though, Whisper Nation. You got to mentally prepare. Do your tiers, do your math, put your folks down. It's not enough to be familiar with the NFL. It's not good enough to show up to your draft knowing the top 5 wide receivers and 3 running backs for every team. No, but like real talk, like I have made this mistake 2 years ago when we did our fantasy startup draft, and I had to get my knowledge to a whole nother level to know like all the ins and outs of every single team. And I did. And then come the draft, I'm like, I don't need to have like the stuff written out. It's all up here. And like, I miss guys just because the faintest pencil is better than the best memory. Like, it's just true. Put that information down, do it the day before, color the guys you like in green. Just don't miss out. You're on the clock. 90 seconds comes and goes really fast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Johnny, you're on the clock.
I know. I'm
47 seconds,
I'm
dude.
Searching, dude.
You better hurry up, dude.
You can't dodge Jacob Bley. You can't dodge Jay Blizzy, man.
Dude,
They coming
Jacob
at you.
Bley,
I got robbed.
Jacob Bley says in the comments, Johnny is salty.
Yeah, I got robbed.
He's like,
All right, man. I'm gonna go with PPR monster here. To roll out there on a weekly basis.
Yeah, that would be some really good ones. Maybe that's an episode we can do of something down the road of like what team is just one player away from jumping into a whole new category.
A whole new
we saw-
world.
We saw the Bucks land Tom Brady, and now they're in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, BA.
You know,
He's
what
like, it
team
one
is-
man. It took one man. That's what he said in his press conference.
Yeah, but that's not true.
I know it isn't.
It wasn't just one man.
I know, but he wanted to dig at Bill Belichick with that comment. He looked dead in the camera. He pulled a big
What was that
Travie.
comment, Johnny?
He pulled a big Travie, looked dead in the camera, and he said, "It only took one man. We brought him in, and it took one man, and now we're going to the Super Bowl." And I was like, "Whoa, dude, shots fired, bro. Why couldn't you do that
You
with
think
the
that
Cardinals?"
was that an intentional slam? Was that an intentional slam on Belichick,
Oh,
or was that
yeah.
just?
Oh yeah. You know, like they'll say, like Bruce Arians is Bruce Arians, and he'll always say that. But like, Yeah, he'll
Yeah.
make comments of like, yeah, you shouldn't have gotten rid of the best quarterback, or like he'll say stuff like that.
I had taken. I was really feeling for Jameis Winston on that comment, because like it only took one man. It's like that man was a replacement at the quarterback position. Your guy threw 5,000 yards last year. Now he's the third string over here, and we're in the Super Bowl. We took a 43-year-old, gave him your job, and now we're in the Super Bowl.
See something real quick. How many interceptions did Tom throw? Let's see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. He only threw 12 interceptions. He threw a third fewer interceptions than Jameis Winston, 30 for 30.
And I'm making my pick here.
Matt Ryan? Is that just a product of whatever was left there?
It's a little bit of a combo of both. Yeah, I wanted to
Why
make
didn't
sure.
Why didn't you go with your boy Tom Brady?
What? No, I'm not gonna go with Tom Brady. He might retire, first of all. I think he'll play again. But no, listen, actually I'm excited for Matt Ryan this year. I do think that Matt Ryan could be a guy that's gonna fall down, and he could have a nice resurgence year. Not very similar to Aaron Rodgers, because of course no one can. I mean, Aaron Rodgers had a mega year, but I do think he can get back into like the 32 to 35 touchdown range with Arthur Smith as the offensive coordinator now. You saw what he did for that Tennessee offense, and Ryan Tannehill. They've got very comparable pieces over there in Atlanta. We'll see what they do in the draft as far as drafting a rookie running back. But as far as the passing weapons, it's just the offense and the calling of the plays that was what I think Matt Ryan could benefit from Arthur Smith.
Yeah, Arthur Smith could do big things for that offense. They've got a lot of pieces in place. The only thing missing, obviously, and it's a Derrick Henry-size hole in the offense, is a running back for Arthur Smith to transfer over. But really powerful weapons within the passing game, a seasoned quarterback that should be able to adapt to a new system because he's been doing it his whole career. Really excited about what and who knows, they can be in position to draft a really good running back that fits the system and gets it going for them. So really excited about what Atlanta has to offer. That was part of the reasoning of grabbing Julio where I did up there in the second. I actually believe in a pretty big year for Atlanta.
I want to know Whisper Nation's take on this. Whisper Nation, if you're listening right now and you think of a team that could take a major leap forward if they got an A player at any position, who would that player be, or what team would that be? You know, like we said, if San Francisco got an A quarterback, I think everybody's like, San Francisco, done, right?
Indeed.
If Atlanta got an A running back, it'd be like, watch out for Atlanta now, like they're coming, right? What team comes to mind as
Well, you could
just
say the Jets.
away?
The Jets got a coach. No, the Jets got a coach, and it's not.
That's an
Adam
organization
Gase.
away.
No. But Adam Gase, dude.
You think they have enough talent right now?
No, I don't. But what I have seen is even the worst of the worst players under Adam Gase go to another or like get away from him, and all of a sudden these guys are like out of this world athletes and pretty like Kalen Ballage. That dude was he was going to go down in the Hall of Fame as the worst NFL player in NFL history until he got outside of Adam Gase and went to the Chargers, where it was like, oh my gosh, this guy's a newfound man. Where did he come from? That was what really. So I'm just saying, if the Jets all of a sudden just started winning like crazy, would I be shocked? Absolutely not, because Adam Gase is no longer there, and I've seen so many times where the players leave there and they're successful that it wouldn't surprise me. That guy is so bad for football players, fantasy players, organization.
Easy says if the Packers got Kenny G, man, that would be nice. I was thinking about Juju even too. Juju'd be nice.
Let's just say an A wide receiver.
Yeah,
an A wide receiver. Judy. I don't give it. Somebody who's not. I'd rather prefer somebody who like has functioning hips, but like an A wide receiver.
Yeah.
I would
I would love a Juju. We need a slot receiver. He's a big slot receiver. I think his contract's up. I think he's would be a nice addition. I think we could go out and get him, but we'll see what happens there. Indianapolis, we talked a little bit about. If Indy gets a quarterback, they're kind of like San Francisco. I think they'd be instant Super Bowl contenders. The defense is really good. The offensive line is really good. They've got young pieces on there.
I'll
Yeah,
go with a weird one here. I'd say if Seattle if Jair Alexander played for the Seahawks, or if they had a true lockdown corner, what that would do for that entire team, I think would be pretty profound.
It's kind of funny that they chose not to pay Richard Sherman, and now they feel like a cornerback away to some people.
Just getting lit up.
Yeah.
You know, I watched that play that Jair Alexander had against the Buccaneers last night in the second quarter, I think it was, and he had just this really incredible tip. It was a third down or it was a second down. He stopped it, and just you could see the momentum grab that happened there. And when you have an ability to lock down a team's go-to, it changes their whole opportunity on the other side. I think Seattle's an A cornerback away from taking a tier jump.
Unless Russ...
In this 10th round, we saw Emmanuel Sanders, Tom Brady, Marlon Mack, Matt Breida, Michael Gallup, Tevin Coleman, Robbie Anderson, Marvin Jones, J.D. McKissick, Johnny Grab and Jerry Jeudy, like that, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, and Big Travie closes out the 10th there with Nyheim Hines. I'm going to start our 11th round pick here in just a moment, getting down to the last 3 rounds here with us, Whisper Nation. We got 13 of you in the live chat. It's awesome to have you with us here on this Monday. If you haven't hit that thumbs up button, go ahead and do us a favor, please, and hit that thumbs up button. Helps spread it out and allows us to keep doing what we love doing so much. At the end of this draft, Johnny and Travis right now are getting their 11th round picks squared away. But at the end of this draft, we're going to need y'all help to pick which one between myself, Travis, and Johnny had the best mock draft here. And then we're going to go through everybody who actually drafted with us and give our quick rundown and overall grade for each one of the mock drafted teams. So be sure to stick around with us as we close this one out. Jalen Reagor, Denzel Mims, Corey Davis, Joe Burrow, and Jordan Howard are off the board. I'm going to turn it over here to my boys here as I make my 11th round pick after Jacob Bley.
Johnny, Corey Davis there, were you between anybody else kind of there? Or what was your thought process on Corey Davis? You think, obviously, I mean, if A.J. Brown misses more than the start of the season, you think A.J. Brown should be back in time, though, right?
Yeah, I don't think his procedure was pretty minimal on his knees and stuff like that. So he should be good to go from the reports that I'm seeing. Corey Davis, I think that they'll end up re-signing in Tennessee. And I just like the fact that you kind of saw him as a breakout candidate there. Now, I do expect, a lot of what they did was because A.J. Brown was injured, so I'm excited to see what A.J. Brown can do on a full healthy season. But, I mean, Corey Davis still had very solid weeks. I think he's a nice wide receiver 3 with wide receiver 2 upside from week to week. And so, I was just like looking at what I went pretty running back heavy in the beginning. So and then now I'm just trying to stack some wide receivers. But there's a couple plays at other positions that I'll be interested to see if I can land here. But I just wanted to kind of add a little bit of more dart throws at the wide receiver position here, being that we start 3 in this one.
Austin.
And you took Jalen Reagor, I'm not going to lie. You took Jalen Reagor, it was between Corey Davis and Jalen Reagor as the 2 guys.
That's going to be a sneaky one. He's not going to climb up crazy high next year.
Yeah, I don't imagine he'll get much higher than this, but I mean, he just didn't have the production on the field to back up or warrant a much higher. But I do like Jalen Reagor's prospect for next year.
Wide receiver 2 status doesn't shock me at all.
Yeah.
At all. I mean, I took Jalen Hurts here in the 12th round.
Ryan Weiss is in here, guys. What's up, boys? Love the show as always.
What's up, Ryan?
Dak at 6'12" is robbery, much like Josh Allen was in 2020. I appreciate that love there on the Dak Prescott pick.
Hey, oh man, that's what I should have taken it. See, look, Ryan coming in here.
So coulda, woulda, shoulda.
I wanted Josh Allen there, but like you said, Jay Blizzy took Josh Allen. I thought that was the pick. 6th round there for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
I love to have Ryan in here. We'll have Ryan on hopefully soon. I love collabing with Ryan over from Club FFL. You can follow him on Twitter at @thefantasy5. He is a great follow there. He's just got all the knowledge over there. Writes for the Fantasy Footballers. Just the world's best stay-at-home dad.
Yeah, one of the best mustaches
he's amazing,
in the
yeah,
industry.
definitely the best mustache. He's amazing.
I mean, Austin has a pretty great mustache.
No shade to Austin's mustache. I don't want to.
My mustache is awesome, and I'm agreeing.
Eric says, "Dang it! I just realized drafted 2 Jets wide receivers. I am hoping for the after Gase effect." Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so Joz Whedon asking Johnny if we're doing much dynasty stuff upcoming or more around draft time. We are actually. We just talked this morning. Our episode that is coming out Thursday will be the top 4 quarterbacks that are projected to go in the NFL draft. So that'll be some dynasty profiling for you there. So make sure you're subscribed to us over on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you get those, because we'll be dropping that audio this week.
Excited to start breaking down some film on these guys, let you know what we think. It's gonna be Austin was getting real jazzed the other day when we were talking about just our upcoming schedule. He was like almost more excited about that than like at the end of the year in our shows. He was just like, okay, this is what we're doing. But then when we brought up, like this upcoming stuff we're gonna be talking about, he was like, oh, we get to talk about the rookies. We got to do this. He was excited. Got some fun.
It's we love doing this, and we regurgitate a lot of information. We say the same thing many times with replicated enthusiasm because that's what we have to do when we're doing this stuff here. But when we get to this part in the book, these are new pages, baby. This is totally fresh. We're carving, we're mining. It's like we got to a part in the cave we haven't gotten to yet, and it's so exciting. And maybe there's diamonds in each next swing. You have no idea. It's really the Christmas morning effect, if you will, when that part comes out. So yeah, I'm excited.
I love what you said there, Austin. It's new pages. This is a game that is just bred off of hypothetical. I mean, we live in the hypothetical all day long. Even when the season is going, you're hypothetically trying to see who will produce each week. So in the off season, when it's the most hypothetical, that's when it's really fun because we're talking about like what could be and all the different storylines that go in. So we love that, and nothing gets us going more than kind of projecting new opportunity. So I think that's great. We got the chat is popping off here. Cat's Pajamas. If the Packers don't re-sign Jones, where would you draft AJ Dillon?
Hi.
Austin, you're drafting here. Johnny, what do you think about the AJ Dillon? Let's say Jones is gone. It's just AJ Dillon, maybe Jamal Williams as his backup.
Well, I'm not 100% sure that they would completely lean on just Jones Dillon first. I think that they would probably give Williams the first crack at it, right? At least, no? You don't think so?
I don't believe so. And the only reason I don't is because they started to lean heavier on Dillon down the stretch. The Tennessee game was a big one. And because of Dillon's comparisons to Derrick Henry, who Matt LaFleur spent a little bit of time with, I think that there's a little bit of love for this new regime in Dillon because Jamal Williams wasn't drafted by Brian Gutekunst.
Yeah,
I see them using Jamal Williams the way that they've used, like Gus Edwards, for instance. Like Gus Edwards has done really good work in the role he's been assigned, and no one's really looking for Gus Edwards to ever be that lead dog. I don't think anyone ever wants Jamal Williams to be that lead dog. Get him in on some kick returns, get him in on some second downs, maybe some goal lines. If he's feeling it, put SpongeBob in. But until then, like AJ Dillon is much more built to be your prototypical running back, and Aaron Jones is in a different way, but in his own style, he should be the lead dog, as I think AJ Dillon would be too.
Yeah, I do fully expect AJ Dillon, or I do fully expect them to re-sign Aaron Jones, because I was telling this to Travis before. Aaron Jones turned down. They offered him a top 5 running back contract, top 5 paid running back contract before the season started. And he actually turned it down because he wanted more guaranteed money. Now, I totally understand that. You want to get as much guaranteed money as possible, as that's what you're actually going to get. But it is interesting that they did that. It kind of went like unnoticed a little bit. And so I do think that they will bring him back. I think that they're already willing to pay him. It's just willing how much of that guaranteed can he get. And I think that
I hope you're right. I was talking to Strofe last night, Alex Strofe. diehard Packers fan, Wisconsin native, runs partially the local station out there, does the Jamal Williams show over on their various platforms as well. And I was talking to Strofe about it, and he's like, Jones is gone. Jones is not going to be a Packer. We don't have the money for it. Yeah, he was like, Jones is done. We don't have the money to re-sign him. Move on. I hope he's wrong.
Wow.
But he was emphatic. He was emphatic about that. So we'll see. Keep that in mind. But this is the end of the draft, boys.
Yeah.
We got all the way through.
We made it. All right.
Well, I would love to answer Cat's Pajamas question,
Yeah.
Johnny. If Packers don't re-sign Jones, where would you draft A.J. Dillon? Where's the willingness to draft the second year?
Well, based on what you just told me and the fact that he would be the number one guy there, my initial thought is maybe around the 4th round right now. Now that I think might be able to creep up if you're. Again, it would depend on what they're saying in camp, but if he is the number one guy there, Aaron Jones is going in the 2nd, and let's say that you're giving a buffer of 2 rounds, I don't know if you would give that much. I think you would ultimately go in the 3rd round, and if I'm being told...
Yeah, I think that's probably right around where it is, right? Like the Cam Akers, the Dave Montgomery, the Chris Carson area of this draft particularly, right? Like I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I would probably...
Maybe someone's impressed with his glutes and reaches for him in the 2nd.
Yeah. And we'll just see, like, if he gets named the starter and as if everything starts pouring out, they don't draft another guy. It's just those two. That would definitely be a situation. Ryan saying, you guys are amazing, as is Austin Stash. Happy to jump on again soon. Josh A., let me know what you guys think about Elijah Moore. He's my number 1 or my wide receiver 3. So we'll definitely break into wide receivers here soon. And Jaws Whedon, it's no longer Movember, more so Janky Beard January.
Oh,
Janky Bearduary.
All right.
I'll take that. Ryan Wee says, my 2 cents. Jay Bley killed this draft. I mean, that's our number 1 fan. There's not many he doesn't.
Yeah.
We'll take a look at how this goes here, but yeah, we're doing it now, right?
Yeah.
Let's break it down, dude.
Break
you want
down.
to start us off?
Team break.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, so 1-1. This is obviously a PPR league. I went with Alvin Kamara because how could you not? The guy is a machine. I think if they could commit to Jameis Winston, I think that would also be good for him this year. I think, anything other than maybe Taysom Hill would not be good for Alvin Kamara at this point. Just the way he fits in the Sean Payton offense. Went with some steady eddies at wide receiver. This is a PPR league. Julio Jones, Keenan Allen, Tyler Lockett, big name guys. You know what you're going to get out of them. Consistency in PPR. You just need health for all 3 of them, of course. Kareem Hunt, that was just trying to make up some running back position here. Kareem Hunt, who was a top 10 PPR RB this year. I don't imagine that scheme changes much. They'll retain both those guys and kind of do some of the same stuff. Dak Prescott in the 6th. I believe, all the reports out now are his ankle he's progressing really nicely on that ankle and going to be ready in time. So I'm banking on that. We'll obviously know more information as we get closer. Zach Moss is just an upside play. I think if he got back, shook off the rookie cobwebs, he was a better pass catcher in college than Devin Singletary was. So I'm going to trust in that in a PPR league. I think he's more well-rounded to be the overall back. And then Chase Claypool, man, I was really excited what I saw at Claypool and stints. I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers retain Juju Smith-Schuster, which would open up a lot of usage for Chase Claypool next year. Robert Tonyan, 11 touchdowns this year. That was fantastic. We love what we see out of him. Hoping Rodgers obviously stays. I don't think he goes. It's too big of a cap hit. And then Robert Tonyan just kind of accelerates that process there. And then just some dart throws here. Naheem Hines, Jalen Reagor, Damian Harris, guys that could develop into big roles in their next year with their teams there. So
nice, man. I really like that 3 wide receiver stack. It's looking pretty there. And if Dak Prescott does do what we expect him to do, who was it? Ryan or Yaz was right. Like, that is an absolute steal.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Well, I'll go ahead and hit it second here. I was in the 7th spot. I took Devon. Pretty good about that. It's a PPR situation, and no matter really what happens, unless Aaron Rodgers leaves the team, I'm banking on him being there. I just think he's going to produce top running back numbers. He's one of the few wide receivers that you can really bank on. His role, what he's able to do. They're going to force feed him the ball, but not out of necessity. That's the right thing to do. And DeAndre Hopkins is similar. I think he's like almost like a Devontae Adams light, and just a little bit right there. The offense is a little bit different, but the role, the skill set, the ability is all pretty comparable. And Allen Robinson is that number one guaranteed player there. I love those stack, those 1, 2, 3s. I think they're going to get a ton of PPR points. I think they got huge ceilings as well. I don't think there's any competition behind them. So very, very comfortable moving forward. But that didn't set me up with a great running back situation. I took 2 Melvin Gordon, James Conner in the 4th and the 5th round. This is obviously not something I would probably be doing come draft time because we expect these teams to make adjustments. But as they sit right now, these are the starting backs. And then I went ahead and paired Melvin Gordon up with Phillip Lindsay just to make sure I got that backfield here locked up. Took Kyler Murray in the 6th. I love that upside play. I think Kyler Murray is going to be even better, more developed coming in this year. I don't think any of the injuries that he picked up this season are going to carry over into next year. I think he's only going to have a better year than he did this year. He'll know how to protect himself a little better. Another year in the offense. I like that pickup. Raheem Mostert for the starting running back for the 49ers. He keeps that role. Love what he was able to do with the touches that he got. Devontae Parker, up and down season, a lot of injuries, but still should be that main guy. Phillip Lindsay then handcuffed. Tevin Coleman handcuffed. 2 tight ends with Tyler Higbee and Jonnu Smith. I expect one of them to do all right. And then Jalen Hurts as an upside handcuff backup quarterback to Kyler Murray. He might be my favorite pick of this entire draft for me.
I like
I like what you did to start the wide receivers. Oh, go ahead.
Hurts is going to be definitely interesting to see if they end up. All the rumors are saying that the team, the Eagles, want to go with Wentz. They think he's fixable. But Jalen Hurts looked absolutely great in what he did when he relieved Wentz, and so I am really excited for his future and what he could do in this league.
How about you, Johnny? Or if you want to hit me, Travis, I'll take it.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think for a what we know now draft, this was very routine, very just hit your marks here. Started your 3 wide receiver stack, and like you said, in 2 months, we're probably maybe even 3 months or whatever. You're not going to be maybe drafting Melvin Gordon or James Conner there. Maybe that's not what happens. But as what we know now, I love what you did here, and then handcuffed him. This is just muscle memory. You're like, I'm going to draft a running back here and then make sure I get his backup so that I have a backfield locked up with that stack. I thought this shows really the X's and O's of mock drafting or drafting in general here. So I just wanted to say that really quick.
Okay. Let's take a look at the rest of Whisper Nations here. Everybody who's with us still in the chat, drop us a line in the comments. Let us know who did the best. Big Travie, Johnny Game Time Hicks, or your boy Aaron Rodgers. Let me know here who made it happen. But we're going to go ahead now and break down the rest of the squad. Started at number 1-1. Let's start at 112 over here with Reed Tyler. I'll just go ahead and pick him up myself. At the 12th spot, Reed Tyler started up with Nick Chubb, arguably the best running back in the NFL from a pure running perspective. Johnny will let you know. Patrick Mahomes, the hands down best quarterback. Nice stack, 1-2 like that. Calvin Ridley, James Robinson, Will Fuller, Tyler Boyd, Hayden Hurst, James White, Henry Ruggs, Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley, Mecole Hardman, and Teddy Bridgewater. All right. Obviously, his strengths are quarterback and running back, and this is just like an old school powerhouse from that perspective. Patrick Mahomes, Nick Chubb, James Robinson. Wow. That's you probably got 2 top 5 halfbacks right now for playing off of last year. You got the number 1 quarterback. Your team's automatically in the playoffs. Calvin Ridley bossed out. He's still got Julio Jones ahead of him, but Calvin Ridley started to make a case for maybe he's the wide receiver over there actually in Atlanta. I think Julio Jones would probably say pause, but it's going to be exciting to watch how that plays out this season. Will Fuller showed us what he's capable of. He's still young. He's still brittle. He's still probably doing PEDs, but he is still very talented and produces at a crazy clip when he's active, which he is, which he will be.
Well, he'll miss the first beginning of the next season. So it'll be interesting to see how far down he'll fall because he has some games missing next season.
Yeah. Tyler Boyd there, that he is that wide receiver 1 for Cincinnati. I like it. Tyler Higbee might be on the talent trajectory. Boyd still does his thing very well. I don't think it happens this year, if it does even at all. Hayden Hurst, fine filler tight end play. Got the upside. We know what he is. You'll probably drop him later on throughout the season. You'll begrudgingly do it. James White, we're holding on to ghosts. Henry Ruggs, though, I like this piece. I like Henry Ruggs, what that could bring. It should be the number 1 wide receiver in Las Vegas. He was the number 1 wide receiver drafted last year. Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley, Mecole Hardman, good dice roll wide receivers there, and Teddy Bridgewater. Who cares? You can drop whatever. I think I love the strengths of this team. They're really good. The quarterback and the halfbacks. Not bad wide receiver plays at all. There's no real holes on this team, and he has some real strengths. B+ for me.
All right.
We want to go with Walker. I don't have any qualms. The only thing that scares me a little bit with Reed Tyler's team is the running back depth. Outside of the top 2 running backs, like he's got James White as a backup. We have no idea how that'll shake out. It was very ugly this year. So yeah, I think that's just the only issue I have there.
Yeah.
But I think B is maybe even a C+ could sneak in there based on the depth. But we'll see. Will Fuller free agent this year. That'll be interesting to see where he ends up, if he stays with Houston or kind of what goes on there.
I think he'll go to Green Bay.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
That would be nice. Walker Base is the next one. I'll just go ahead. Or Johnny, you want to take this one?
Yeah, sure. I'll take it. He took. He was at the 109 pick here. Took Ezekiel Elliott, Aaron Jones in the second, DeAndre Swift in the third. So start off 3 running backs there, and then went Kenny Golladay, Odell Beckham, DJ Chark, in rounds 4 through 6. Hunter Henry in the 7th. Ryan Tannehill, who is the quarterback that I was kind of eyeing there in the 8th. I like that. Brandon Cooks in the 9th. Matt Breida and Latavius Murray in the 10th and 11th round. Then he took Cam Newton and then Keyshawn Vaughn in the 13th. I do like the Keyshawn Vaughn. I was kind of eyeing him there in the 13th as well. I do like the running backs that he has. I think that in this instance, it's fine that it was okay that he took Ezekiel Elliott because of, I probably would still take Nick Chubb over Ezekiel Elliott, even in a PPR league, even knowing what we kind of know. But I think him pairing that with Aaron Jones and DeAndre Swift was very, very nice, because I think that Elliott will give you a nice solid floor and baseline, and then, paired with Aaron Jones, which is your upswing, and same with DeAndre Swift. So I really like that combination there. I'm a little concerned about the wide receivers. I do want to see where Kenny G ultimately ends up going, or if he stays in Detroit, who's throwing him the ball. And then OBJ, how is he? He could miss some time coming back. DJ Chark, I'm excited for that. I would give this I'd probably do a B, a solid B on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the running backs are carrying it. The top 3 running backs, they're kind of carrying it.
Yeah.
For me here, but Tannehill obviously solid. I think these wide receivers looked great coming into last year. You'd be really excited about this wide receiver trio coming into last year, but there's so much uncertainty with all 3 of those going into next year, so that one be a little tough. I'll go ahead and start with Fantasy Boss here. Tyreek Hill in the first round. Then he went with Austin Eckler, Chris Carson, followed by Amari Cooper. I'm a big fan of this first 4. I think he stacked the first 4 pretty well here. A little bit off the rails coming after that. Le'Veon Bell, Leonard Fournette, Zach Ertz, Marquise Brown. Then Drew Brees in the 9th, Michael Gallup, Kerryon Johnson, Austin Hooper, Darius Slayton. A couple issues here. I don't know what's going to happen with Zach Ertz, where he'll end up. He looked a little bit kind of deflated towards the end of last year. Drew Brees is retiring, most likely. So that's probably going to need to be, you're going to need a different quarterback there. And then Le'Veon Bell, I wouldn't be surprised if Le'Veon Bell's out of the year, or out of the league by the end of this year. So we'll just see what happens there. I'm going to give this one a C, just a solid C here, just because of some of the positions drafted, but it did auto draft, so I don't even know if he's in here anymore. So
yeah, I don't need to spend too much time on it there, but you're right.
Austin, Austin, you get the joy of talking about Jacob Bley's team here, man. This is a hot team.
It's a joyous team to discuss, with Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, and David Montgomery as 1, 2, 3 picks, going with the 6th spot. Gosh, that is fire. All 3 of those guys could end up being top 5 running backs this year. They all get the opportunity. They all have their role carved out, barring anything weird in the draft or off season. That's a stacked situation. All of these guys too. what was the average of their weeks? 15, 16, and 17. It's very nice.
This was the top. This was the top 3 to close out the final month of the year.
Yeah.
These were the 3 best running backs at the end of last year.
So that's very, very. I mean, you could even ask like, okay, I know who you'd rather have the prior, but it's like, okay, would you rather have Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, David Montgomery, or Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley? You'd rather have the latter, but you're not surprised if Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, David Montgomery is the better trio.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah.
So Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, Deontay Johnson, my goodness, Justin Jefferson was an elite wide receiver based on production last year. It's his second year, same quarterback. You expect that to only get better. CeeDee Lamb, Johnny, you were right on him all year long. That talent just shone through. Didn't matter that Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup were ahead of him. CeeDee Lamb found a way to be productive. And Deontay Johnson looks to be the wide receiver 1. It's still kind of weird in Pittsburgh, but Deontay Johnson set up really, really well. And if you get a guy like that in the 6th, nice. Justin Herbert, I mean, you love to see that pick right there. It's not like he fell very far, but this is a guy who has elite possibility, and he's now pairing along with all these other elite players that we mentioned. So nice pickup there. Tony Pollard, if it hits, fine. Noah Fant, really love the upside there from a tight end perspective. He did really good work last year, except when his ankle started bringing him down. He'll come in healthy. You hope he stays that way. Robbie Henderson was awesome. Alexander Madison, elite handcuff. Mike Gesicki should be better than he was. I think he has room to make that production grow. Christian Kirk, Sterling Shepard, same thing. Those guys should have great roles. They've got great upside from a fantasy perspective. Jacob Bley killed this draft.
Yeah,
I give him an A-. I give him an A- on this one. It's not an A+ situation for me, but it's an A- on this one. It's a really good draft.
Well done, Jacob Bley. Johnny, you're gonna talk about the champ, reigning champ.
Yeah, Jay Blizzy jumps in here. He takes Saquon Barkley at the 104. He says, I don't care what the news might be as of right now. I'm taking him. So take Saquon Barkley, then take Stephon Diggs, which I really like that in the 2nd. Then followed that with Cam Akers. Then took A.J. Brown, sniped him right from me. I was looking to grab him. And then T. Higgins. So I like the 3 wide receiver combo that he has. Saquon, depending on the injury there, and Cam Akers, pretty solid there. And then took Josh Allen, Brandon Ayuk, and then T.J. Hawkinson in the 8th round as his tight end. I really, really like that. Then we already talked about Laviska Shenault, who he grabbed in the 9th. J.D. McKissick in the 10th, Joe Burrow in the 11th, Gus Edwards in the 12th, and then Logan Thomas in the 13th. I think, once again, Jay Bleasy showing up, showing out. This guy is one of the best drafters that we've drafted with on a consistent basis. I like this one. I think that this would be an A-, a B+ A- draft, depending on what Saquon Barkley. If Saquon Barkley misses, 4 games, he'll be in some trouble because the lack of, running back depth here is a little thin. But I like it.
Yeah, I don't have much to say otherwise on it. I think it's pretty good. Austin, you have any comments on Jay Blizzy's stuff?
I think I'm trying to find if I like the upside play with Cam Akers in the 3rd. I might have gone DeAndre Swift over, but if you like Cam Akers in that situation, like, do your thing. Love the A.J. Brown in the 4th. T. Higgins in the 5th gives me slight pause, but again, it's one of those situations like, grab your guy. Yeah. If it's like, I don't believe in Odell Beckham's health. I don't believe in DJ Shark's quarterback. I think that T. Higgins is going to take a jump over Tyler Boyd. Like, go for it. I think that's okay. Brandon Ayuk, I love that play. I love the Laviska Shenault one as well. Ooh, and he stacked Joe Burrow up down there as 2nd, and then Logan Thomas also. This is really solid. He hits upside. He has really nice floor. And he's got pop. So A-.
Yeah, he's got some really fun 2nd-year guys in T. Higgins and Brandon Ayuk. Love that. Even Laviska Shenault. Jay Blizzy doing.
I want to qualify the one thing with for me to get an A+, you can't make an A+ happen for your draft. You'd have to have people above you mess up and let guys fall, and then you luck out and you make that right pick. So I just didn't see anybody like that really falling in this draft, something crazy like that. So like A- is about as good as you can do without other fellow drafters messing up. So yeah, it's like you knocked it out of the park.
I like that. All right, I'm gonna close this out here with Easy Daddy. Eric, we love you, man. Thanks for coming in here. Travis Kelsey, he was the big shocker in the first round. Great conversation piece to start this draft. Travis Kelsey at 1-2. Then DK Metcalf, J.K. Dobbins, Terry McLaurin, Darren Waller, his second tight end, going for that tight end in the flex. Myles Gaskin. Then Aaron Rodgers, A.J. Dillon. So we were talking a little bit about A.J. Dillon's prospects. I mean, if Aaron Jones doesn't get re-signed, A.J. Dillon in the 8th would be an absolute steal.
Yeah.
Jamison Crowder, MVS. I'll just move on from MVS. Denzel Mims, Matthew Stafford as his backup quarterback. Stafford goes to Indy or San Fran, and God forbid something happens to Aaron Rodgers. That would be nice. And then Lynn Bowden here. I thought Myles Gaskin was one of his better picks here in the 6th round. I was looking for Myles Gaskin there. He snagged him there. Myles Gaskin, we've seen do some pretty good things for Miami. Concerned with this team as far as running back is concerned. But Myles Gaskin and J.K. Dobbins, if they do what they're supposed to do, and A.J. Dillon, he could actually, sneak away from this draft pretty well. And then the depth in wide receivers. This is a 3 wide receiver league. He's got Jamison Crowder as his 3rd wide receiver, and then backups of MVS and Denzel Mims. So I'm going to give this one a B-. I do think he's got some hard-hitting plays with Travis Kelsey, Aaron Rodgers, and then Darren Waller. He not only gets a second tight end that's elite, but kind of steals that from other people he's playing with. So I think that gives him a little bit of a push. So, yeah, I'd be going with B- here.
It would be B+ for me. I just don't think he has any holes. Just not as shiny as Jay Blizzy's or Jacob Bley's. But
yeah,
no holes for me.
I like it.
We did it, boys.
Woo!
Another one in the books.
That's one in the books. Getting better. Learning.
Whisper Nation, tell us what you guys think. Give us grades on here if we messed up on a grade.
And we will see you next week, same time, same place, on our YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe so you get the notifications about that. Follow us on Twitter where we're dropping the links to our live mock drafts. Love to have you join us next week. We'll be doing this every Monday, though. We're going to start a new thing, too. We're going to be breaking down some of our mock drafts from Monday later on in the week with some guest hosts as well. So make sure you've liked and subscribed. Catch us next week. We'll be coming at you and all kinds of new content as we get ready for the draft and then the offseason and training camp and all that good stuff coming your way. Johnny, Travis, did I miss anything?
No.
No, I think we rocked and rolled it, man.